The stadium lights turned on hours before sunset. From miles away, the glow looked unreal, like a second sunrise rising over Inglewood, California. Helicopters circled slowly. Traffic stretched across freeways like ribbons of red fire. Vendors shouted. Fans sang before they even reached the gates. Inside the control room, dozens of screens flickered at once. Crowd density maps, transit reports, security feeds, weather projections. And standing quietly near the back wall was the mayor of the city, watching everything unfold. Not smiling, not celebrating, watching. Because this wasn't just a concert. To him, it was a test. When Taylor Swift stepped onto the stage that night, more than 70,000 people screamed in perfect unison. The sound shook glass panels. Engineers later said the vibration registered like a minor earthquake. But what happened behind the scenes that night, and again months later when Beyoncé arrived, would quietly change how city leaders viewed the future. Because in just a few years, this same city would host matches for the FIFA World Cup 2026. And at that moment, no one was truly sure Inglewood was ready. What happened next changed everything. Most people remember concerts as music, lights, and unforgettable memories. City leaders remember them differently. They remember emergency plans rewritten at midnight, transportation systems pushed to breaking points, thousands of workers coordinating without sleep, split-second decisions that could prevent disaster or cause it. The mayor of Inglewood, James T. Butts Jr., had spent years helping transform a city once overlooked into one of America's busiest entertainment hubs. The crown jewel stood at the center, SoFi Stadium. Beautiful, massive, expensive, and proven on the scale the world was about to demand. The World Cup wouldn't just bring fans. It would bring the planet, and confidence, he knew, could not come from promises. It had to come from survival under pressure. That's where the concerts came in. Long before the crowds arrived, Inglewood carried a complicated reputation. For decades, it existed in the shadow of Los Angeles, close enough to fame, yet rarely included in its spotlight. Economic struggles, stalled development, and skepticism from investors lingered for years. Then came the stadium project. Construction cranes reshaped the skyline. Roads were redesigned. Hotels appeared. Jobs followed. Hope followed too, but so did risk. Residents worried about traffic. Business owners feared disruption. Critics predicted chaos whenever massive events arrived. And privately, city officials shared another fear. Scale. A World Cup match isn't just bigger than a concert. It's unpredictable. International crowds behave differently. Languages collide. Expectations multiply. Before trusting their systems with millions of global viewers, leaders needed proof. They needed something intense enough to simulate the future. Then came the announcement. Taylor Swift was bringing her record-breaking tour to SoFi Stadium. Multiple nights. Sold out instantly. Inside City Hall, planners realized something quietly profound. This wasn't just entertainment. It was a full-scale rehearsal. The first warning signs appeared weeks before the show. Hotel bookings surged beyond projections. Rideshare demand overwhelmed apps. Nearby neighborhoods reported parking concerns days in advance. Every department felt pressure. Police coordination meetings stretched late into the night. Transit authorities argued over shuttle capacity. Emergency services rehearsed scenarios ranging from heat exhaustion to mass evacuation. And still, uncertainty remained. Would fans arrive early or late? Would exits clog? Could communication systems handle tens of thousands leaving simultaneously? No spreadsheet could answer that. On concert day, the city held its breath. Fans arrived wearing sequins, friendship bracelets, and handmade outfits. Many had traveled across states, some across oceans. Energy built hour by hour. Then the gates opened. Within minutes, entry lines surged faster than predicted. Security checkpoints adjusted on the fly. Staff redirected flows using handheld radios. Inside the control room, silence filled the air. The mayor watched numbers climb. 10,000 attendees. 30,000. 50,000. Each milestone felt like crossing invisible thresholds. And then something unexpected happened. It worked. Not perfectly, but it worked. Transportation adapted. Crowd movement stabilized. Emergency calls stayed manageable. The system bent, but didn't break. Still, the real test hadn't come yet. Because leaving a stadium is always harder than entering it. When the final song ended, 70,000 people moved at once. For a moment, traffic sensors flashed red across multiple districts. Officials braced for gridlock. But fans staggered departures naturally. Some lingered for photos. Others searched for merchandise or food. Rideshare staging zones absorbed demand gradually. Flow replaced chaos. One operations manager whispered something no one expected to hear that night. "We're learning faster than we thought." The mayor didn't celebrate. He simply nodded. Because one concert wasn't enough. Then Beyoncé announced her tour stop. And everything scaled up again. If Taylor Swift's shows were emotional storms, Beyoncé's arrival felt like precision engineering. Her production demanded stricter timing, heavier equipment logistics, and complex backstage coordination. Hundreds of trucks arrived in synchronized waves. City planners suddenly realized they were managing not just crowds, but moving infrastructure. Loading routes had to remain clear. Power usage surged. Communication between private crews and public agencies became critical. This time, officials watched not only survival, but efficiency. And they noticed something powerful. Each event improved the system. Traffic exited faster. Security lines shortened. Local businesses adapted inventory to fan behavior. Even residents began planning around event schedules instead of fearing them. Confidence wasn't announced. It grew quietly. One night, after crowds finally cleared, the mayor walked alone through the empty stadium concourse. Hours earlier it had been deafening. Now only cleaning crews remained. Discarded glow sticks shimmered on the floor like tiny stars. He stopped near an entrance tunnel and looked back toward the field. In that silence, realization settled in. If a city could safely host joy at this scale, emotion, noise, unpredictability, then maybe it could host the world. Not perfectly, but successfully. And sometimes, success is simply proving disaster doesn't happen. Months later, during a press briefing about World Cup preparations, reporters asked whether Inglewood was ready. For the first time, his answer came without hesitation. Yes. Not because of projections. Because they had already faced the pressure. They had already learned in real time under real crowds with real stakes. Concerts had done something planning documents never could. They revealed human behavior. And human behavior is what defines global events. Businesses reported record revenue. Transit agencies refined new permanent systems. Residents who once feared events began renting parking spaces or opening pop-up food stands. The city wasn't just hosting entertainment anymore. It was evolving. And the stadium transformed from a gamble into proof. The story was never really about concerts. It was about trust. Trust between government and citizens. Trust between planners and unpredictability. And trust that culture, music, celebration, shared experience can prepare communities for challenges far beyond entertainment. Sometimes progress doesn't arrive through policy speeches. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a chorus sung by 70,000 strangers. Years from now, when cameras broadcast World Cup matches to billions, most viewers will only see goals, cheers, and flags waving. They won't see the rehearsals. They won't remember the nights when pop songs tested evacuation routes or when friendship bracelets quietly helped engineers understand crowd flow patterns. But somewhere in the stands, a mayor may look around and remember the moment confidence truly began. Not during a meeting, Not during construction, but during a concert when a city learned it could carry the weight of the world and keep singing anyway.